if you remember that wheel that we did the very first session, and the realisticness of it in terms of your business is here, your family might be here, your finances might be here. Well, if you try and roll that wheel, it doesn't roll very well.
Right.
Hey everybody, this is your boy G with Puff Cuff coming to you from Eye to Eye, sitting here with my lovely wife Sita and
That's
our
me.
special guest for today, Dr. Doug Shipley from Tempo LLC. So Doug, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well.
With your lovely wife, Sita?
Yes, lovely. I don't know why everybody thinks that's so funny. I don't get it.
I told you the cameras love you.
Oh,
Absolutely. y'all just look like, Ken and Barbie in chocolate.
really? In chocolate?
In chocolate.
Yeah.
Dipped in Ghirardelli.
Oh, yeah.
Dark chocolate and milk chocolate. Okay.
No, that's caramel.
Oh, that's caramel.
Yeah. Creamy simmer.
Mocha.
Decaf mocha. So, did it warm up outside at all? Is it still?
It's a little warmer.
It's a little warmer. For Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Doug, tell us about yourself.
I can because we've been knowing Dr. Shipley for going on. Has it been 4 years?
Maybe.
4 years.
How long have you all been here?
We'll be here six.
So maybe 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
At our he was at the church we joined. Zion Baptist. Zion Baptist Church.
Let the church sing. Amen.
And the corner of Church and Lemon Street in Marietta, Georgia.
That's at 165 Lemon Street, for those of you who don't know.
Now, that was your NPR voice.
Right, for
really
real.
good.
For real. Founded by former slaves. Look, and we still here.
1866. I'm silly, aren't I?
Oh, as y'all can see, this is going to be a moment of a whole bunch of laughter.
Right.
So you were saying, Sita, what were you saying?
So that's where we met
Yeah.
Dr. Shipley. And I think we really got to know each other in Zumba class, didn't we?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then I sat and chat with you at the vendor fair. That's when I really found out what Dr. Shipley does, other than in this current life, because he's lived several lives before,
Like a cat.
including
9 lives.
right, including he was an assassin.
Now there are still wanted posters all across Europe. Anyway.
So Dr. Shipley is our current business consultant. He is the one helping us actually move forward, think forward, and be proactive and actually do what we say we're going to do when it comes to propelling Puff Cuff into the future. So we thought it would be awesome to bring him here and introduce you all to him so he can spread some of that knowledge across across the podcast universe. But
Scary.
it's not scary.
Okay.
Yes, he's definitely not scary.
Okay.
Very encouraging.
That's what you see.
Well, let me tell you what TEMPO even stands for. How about that?
Yep.
TEMPO is an acronym. And it stands for Transforming, Empowering, Motivating People and Organizations. That acronym, TEMPO itself, the name TEMPO is in homage to my father, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He founded TEMPO back in the 60s.
Okay.
And used to work in community activities and those kinds of things, getting young people together and moving them forward. But even before that, it was a church group of enabling individuals and people. So I took Tempo and I just updated it. I kept Tempo, but I updated it for what I wanted it to be.
Oh, you know what I thought it was?
No.
I thought it was like about finding your rhythm.
Right.
When it comes to,
no. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
But Tempo is about finding your rhythm. And so if you go to the website and all that kind of stuff, we'll talk about the website later. But if you go to the website, it asks you, what is a tempo? And it's about rhythm. It's about pace. It's about trying to figure out what your pace is. I use the analogy of people running a marathon.
Yeah.
Most people who run marathons have trained for them. Okay. And then at some point around mile 20, they start to question themselves and they wonder if they can keep going. But they've already trained for this. They've trained for months to run this race. They have it in them, but they start to doubt themselves. And so it's not about whether or not they actually can do it, but then it becomes about their tempo, their pace to keep moving forward.
So do you, and I don't want to get too deep into it before, too early, but is one of the essence of Tempo Group LLC to teach folks that they have to run the tempo that's right for them?
Absolutely. Because you can't look at other people and say, oh, well, Garrett and Sita,
right,
they're here and I should be whatever.
Yeah.
It's not your race.
Yeah.
It's not your pace. You don't have the wherewithal. You don't have the skill sets. You don't have the whatever. It's kind of like when I walked into a barbershop one day and the barber told me that somebody had come in and asked him, I want a haircut just like that. Yeah. And he says, I can't cut your hair that way. He says, well, why not? He says, because you don't have that kind of hair.
Or that kind of head.
Or that kind of head. Or that kind of face.
Right.
So it's not about you just going out and picking an arbitrary goal that somebody else has. Learn who you are. Learn who you were gifted to be and move that direction. So one of the things that I like to try to do is get people to understand who they are, where they're going, realistically, who they are, as opposed to who they think they are.
Oh, that's hard. That could be kind of difficult. Especially if you have been trying to, or you've been living with a perceived notion of who you think you are, because everybody's telling you something of how you perform or whatever. But in reality, deep down, that's really not who you are. And
a lot of people sit around and they they go to work on a daily basis and they're miserable. They're miserable because they're not being who they are. They're not authentic to themselves. So you have those people that go to work and they say, I hate my job, but I have to keep going to work.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
I remember some of it.
First of all,
so familiar.
That's a lie.
Uh-oh.
It's a lie. You don't have to keep going to work. You have choices.
But
choices have consequences.
Right.
But you don't have to keep going to work. Nobody puts a gun to your head and says you will go to XYZ Corporation today.
That depends on what house you in.
Now, Sita might put a gun to your head.
Right, say.
But choices. Choice is a big thing. And getting you to understand that you have more than one choice in this world. In most situations, people come up and they say, hey, look, I don't have a choice, or this is my only option. If you think there's only one option, you probably haven't thought long enough.
That's so true.
Okay.
All right.
Giving us something to marinate on as we go to break.
And when we come back, though, we'll dig a little bit deeper into Dr. Shipley, as well as get an understanding of where he came from and how he got to be Tempo Group LLC.
Oh, Lord have mercy. The alter ego's coming out.
See y'all later on the other side of the break.
we are back again talking with Dr. Douglas. Is it Douglas?
It's Douglas S. Shipley.
Douglas S. Shipley. Double S's. Double S's. And tell me your official title, other than I always say, yeah, he's my bitches. He's not my bitches coach. No.
A business coach, perhaps?
Yes.
Well,
even though my bitches might need to get in order, but
y'all need to get in line. Make some money.
Right. He is our business coach.
My official title, I'm
in this life, that is.
Yeah. I'm a consultant. I'm an executive coach, a life coach, a leadership speaker, those kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did this come to be?
I used to sit around and working in my past life. Mm-hmm. It always came to me that it always came down to leadership. In general, that's how I got interested in leadership. But I also recognized that I had a talent, if you will, for helping people. Mm-hmm. And I like helping people. I like helping people get to where they want to get to. And so I combined those things, and I worked and I trained and that type of thing. And so this is the culmination of that other life and this current one.
Okay. Can you divulge just little snippets of
the other life?
The previous lives that you have lived?
I was a police officer in Kansas City, Missouri, mm-hmm. For 5 years. I taught at the police academy. I trained new recruits. And even before that, I was training new recruits that had come out into the field. And so apparently Kansas City thought enough of me that they allowed me to do some kind of leadership then. I left the police department, and I joined the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That would be the FBI.
Right. Say what the acronym for that?
Yes, that would be the FBI. Not mm-hmm. Fat Boys Institute, by the way. I joined the FBI, and I worked with them for 23 years.
Good grief.
And I had an opportunity to travel around this country and other countries, spreading the joy of happiness to all who I might encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I had a chance to look at organizations from an inside perspective. And while people think of the FBI as just being a law enforcement organization, I used to introduce it as it's a multi-billion-dollar international organization all around the world. Mm-hmm. Again, looking to not only perpetuate leadership, but also looking to solve crime, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Can you break somebody's neck in under 3 seconds? Never mind. Don't answer it. I might have to use those skills.
I did teach at the FBI Academy.
Really?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See? Wow.
Good to know people.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to know people.
Some people. May not be good to know me. Who? And we don't know him.
So how long have you been in the role of executive coach? And, tell us what type of clients you have and what you're kind of seeing now in this role.
I've been in this, I started Tempo Group in 2013, and that was after I'd retired from the FBI. Mm-hmm. And business moves like business moves. It's slow and all of the above. What I see in this role, I see a super need, the need that's not necessarily being fulfilled. A lot of people say, I don't need anybody. I don't need a coach. What's the value of a coach? And so I would add to this. If you look at sports teams, is there a sports team that doesn't have a coach?
Nope.
No.
And why? It's just curiosity. Why do they need a coach?
They need a leader.
They need a leader, and they need somebody who is outside of their physical body,
right,
to be able to point out the things that they are or are not doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or to hold them accountable for those things that they say that they want to do. Mm-hmm. So the coach's role is to be that sounding board, to be that wall, to be that direction, to be that whatever. And so where else can you get an individual who is specifically on your side about what you want to do?
Right.
Now, I know that you all love each other and all that kind of stuff, but you all have history together, and you look at him and he looks at you and you think, well, she's not into that or she doesn't want to do that because of the eye movement or whatever. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is what you tell me that you want to do. And so I'm with you 100% on your goal. Your goal is SMART. You know the acronym SMART?
No, help me out.
She wasn't part of corporate for too long.
No.
Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Timely meaning you have to set a time frame on it. Everything I ask you to do, I'm going to say, when's that going to be done? Is it realistic? I want to be, I was going to say president, but I don't want to be that. I want to be emperor of the universe. It's not realistic. No, it's not realistic. So let's talk about it being realistic. Is it attainable? Well, if you want to teach at Vanderbilt, you need some credentials.
Right.
So it may or may not be attainable or realistic.
Right.
Measurable. If I ask you to do X, do you do it? Most people sit around and they think, I'd like to have my own business.
Okay.
Is there more to that?
Right.
No. Well, what do you mean? When do you want to have your business? I don't know. I never thought about that. What kind of business do you want? I don't know. Never thought about that. So that's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen.
Right. So how, because we were talking about this in another show about entrepreneurship versus corporate jobs, right? So how would you advise a person to decide between wanting to be an entrepreneur or
staying in
corporate America? As a coach, right? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all,
wait a second. Does he need to write a receipt? Do we need to
your audience needs to send me
right.
1995
3 monthly installments.
Just I'll tell you this. We would have a long conversation about where they are, who they are, what they want to do. I wouldn't advise anybody to leave their corporate job with no setup, no anything, unless for circumstances beyond your control. You had no corporate job. And then in which case we would talk about, okay, what's realistic for you right now? How are you making money? Because obviously it takes money to live. How are you sustaining yourself? How are you doing whatever? So it would be a long conversation, really.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And it might be too long of an answer before our next break.
It's gonna be short.
It's gonna be short.
It's gonna be short.
Are you promised?
No.
Okay. So, outside looking in, when you came to Puff Cuff, and you could, you've done observing and listened to our talks and read our survey, our evaluation and stuff. What could you see that we needed to address that we couldn't see? And I promise I'll still be your friend afterwards.
Okay. What I could see from the outside looking in was the organization. The organization of Puff Cuff needed help.
Okay.
It wasn't the individuals. It wasn't the heart. It wasn't the motivation. It wasn't any of that stuff, because you all are hardworking people to move from where you were to where you are right now. It's the organizational structure. And as you know, we spent some time talking about organizational structure, not because you lacked clarity in what you wanted to do, but it was all the heavy lifting coming from you all.
Hence the minions.
Because it's
that we're trying to.
So if you're looking for a job,
right? Actually,
Puff Cuff.
Indeed.com.
And if you're looking to become a minion,
everybody wants to be a minion.
Oh, so I had a question about when you came out of law enforcement into
this
being an entrepreneur, right? Because it's really right. It's
consulting. A whole. It's a different lane. How did I make the transition?
Yeah, how did you make that transition?
Well, first I kind of back up. because before I left, it wasn't like I just left law enforcement one day and suddenly here I am.
Yeah.
About 5 years before I was planning to leave, now this is me in the process of planning, I knew that I wanted to do other things outside of law enforcement. A lot of the people that leave law enforcement, and there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of people that leave law enforcement go straight into some security consulting, whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do other things. And so I went back to school and worked on my master's before I left my employment, which is, again, part of that long conversation about leaving corporate America. And so I got a degree, a master's degree in education, specializing in training and performance improvement. So that's human, capital, looking at them and trying to figure out what you have in your organization, analyzing it, and figuring out where the gaps are.
Yeah.
Okay. First road. After I left my job, or after I retired, I went back to school again, and I got my doctorate, specializing in leadership.
Yeah.
And so I combine all of that to move this direction.
Yeah. And that's interesting, hearing your path, because we had talked about earlier about preparing. Every step prepares you for the next, right? So I was saying that when I worked for Bank of America, everything that I did prepared me for the next step.
Absolutely.
And I look back that within the last 4 to 5 years that I worked for them, prepared me for what I'm doing now.
If you look at it in hindsight, in that little rear view, it looks like a straight line.
Yeah.
Oh, Garrett knew exactly what he was doing. He was fixed on this role of going to there and going. He had no clue, I'm telling you right now. Okay?
Zero.
But he had an idea. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because your ultimate goal should be kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
But you know what path you're on.
Yeah.
If you've got good pathway, you're on course.
Oh, good to hear.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
good pathway. You're on course. But it might be. Is it asphalt, concrete, gravel?
That's up to you. Sometimes the road is rocky,
Right.
and sometimes it's smooth.
Oh, we will be right back with more with Mr. Doug Shipley.
Yeah, okay. Shine. Listen.
I got a puff cuff in my hair and it's clear. Try not to interfere with the facts I'm about to share. People love it, they love it cause there's nothing to compare. And when something does appear, it's not real, it's a fake, have no fear. It works with dreads and worse with curly hair. You won't go through the wear and tear of using benzo. Yes, I swear you might just have a love affair. And I'm not saying that you should be well aware that thing might end up in your thoughts and in your prayers.
The perfect ponytail, no stress, no pain, the holy grail. Tired of messing around with these bands, go take a hike, go hit the trail. The perfect ponytail, no stress, no pain, the holy grail. Tired of messing around with these bands, go take a hike, go hit the trail.
I want you to hear, listen, that this one is clear. For all of you color people, we wanna see all that vibrant hair twinkle. Shine. Wake up, puff been done. This is the one who begun, the dreams that became, the bronze in the brain, the change of the game, the company name.
The perfect ponytail, no stress, no pain, the holy grail. Tired of messing around with these bands, go take a hike, go hit the trail. The perfect ponytail, no stress, no pain, the holy grail. Tired of messing around with these bands, go take a hike, go hit the trail.
Love it.
Hey y'all, this is Garrett here, coming back to you with my lovely wife Sita and Dr. Doug Shipley for...
I'm not lovely.
You are Dr. Doug Shipley of Tempo Group LLC, and you can find him at www.itsyourtempo.com. So Dr. Shipley, as we were leaving the last segment, you brought up a topic about self-help and how that's a misnomer.
I think it's exactly what the word for it. an oxymoron.
I love self-help because it's an oxymoron. Think about it. So you go where to look for self-help books?
To the bookstore.
Okay, you go to the bookstore and you buy these books, and they're written by people, and they tell you what to do and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it was self-help, you wouldn't need
have
the
to
book,
go, right? That's what I was getting ready to think.
Right.
Shouldn't it be like
you wouldn't need
within
the
you
book.
or whatever?
You wouldn't need the book. And so by definition, if you can help yourself, you don't need help.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
I get it.
Okay, so we've got all these people, again, we were talking before, we've got all these people that say, well, why should I need a
Why do I need a coach? Mm-hmm.
Why should I pay for a coach? I don't need a coach. Why should I pay for one?
Nobody to help.
I don't think he's worth all that. Well, yeah, maybe not. But at the same point, we know that you
don't short sell yourself.
Don't say, yeah, I'm worth more than that. But, at the same time, we know that you can't get from point A to point B. Example: how many people annually, monthly, whatever, decide that they want to lose weight?
Oh, snap!
A whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they know how to lose weight? In general.
No, because otherwise they would have lost the weight.
No. But in general, what does it take to lose weight?
Exercise and eating right.
Exercise and eating right. If you put out more effort than the calories that you take in, you will lose weight. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
And do they lose weight?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So it's not about knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about their desire to do these things. Mm-hmm. It's about having somebody that holds you accountable. And so what value is it to have a coach? Why should you pay a coach?
Yeah.
Because you still won't do it by yourself. You will say, it'd be a good thing if I, and you will walk away. Just like we were talking before. You didn't set any measurable, attainable, realistic, time-sensitive thing for yourself. But if I say, when will you get that done? And you say, I don't know. We're going to sit there for a while until you tell me when you're going to get it done.
Right.
And we're also going to sit down and we're going to talk about what your goals are in every aspect of your life. You remember that wheel that we did the very first session? And the realisticness of it in terms of your business is here, your family might be here, your finances might be here. Well, if you try and roll that wheel, it doesn't roll very well. Right. So that's what we need to sit down and talk about. We need to talk about what it is that you want to do. And every conversation that I ever have with anybody that I'm working with is about what it is that you want to do. Not what Doug Shipley wants to do, but what you want to do. And again, to have somebody that's 100% behind what you want to do, that's worth something. So
I feel like another thing that we benefited from having you as a coach is helping us to be able to communicate easier, smoother.
You mean between the two of you?
Oh, Lord.
But y'all's married.
Yes.
Y'all's married now.
Right.
Well.
25 years in. Yeah, married, but working together is two totally different things.
It is a completely different thing.
And I think Garrett and I have always been good communicators when it comes to, I think better almost communicators when it comes to business and getting things taken care of. But just being able to have someone, that third party, outside party, look objectively at both sides and get each other, the opposite one, to be able to understand
where the other one's coming from
and the reasoning behind it. Because sometimes, you just get emotions play and shut up in the equation. And for me, I know if that's the case, it's hard for me to articulate my thoughts. So that's been a huge benefit, which I didn't see that coming in the beginning.
That goes in with what Garrett was talking about before in terms of building skill sets.
Is he translating again?
Building skill sets. I'm also a trained mediator.
Okay.
So being able to sit down at a table between two parties and be a third party neutral as to what I hear you saying is, and being able to relay that. Now, you all are, partners, and you're partners in life and partners in business. And so therefore, my role as your coach morphs a little bit because of your relationships. So if I was just dealing with one person, that would be one thing. And you want to work specifically on, product development or whatever. So we hold you to product development. But between the two of you, you all have dynamics.
Yeah. So. And I would also say that you've enabled a level of comfort for us to be just honest, right? And not have to shy away from a conversation or sugarcoat it. It just is helped tremendously, right?
Well, one of the things that, this isn't telling things out of school or whatever, but one of the things that a coach does is ask you very pointed, tricky questions, if you will, deep thinking questions. So they're not yes or no.
Right.
So the question about, well, what is it that makes you fearful?
Yeah.
Get off into that. Yeah. And we're going to work through that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to put that thing out there on the table so that it's there. It's tangible. You can touch it. Whatever.
Yep.
Do you ever find clients that expect you to execute for them?
There are always going to be people that want you to do things for them. And so the whole idea of coaching is for me not necessarily to come up with the solution. It's for you to come up with the solution. Nobody knows you better than you, even if you're not in touch with yourself, but you still know you. You still know your business. You still know your everything.
Yeah.
I don't need to know your business. I don't need to know everything about it. I don't need to be an expert in supply chain. I don't need to be an expert in whatever.
Yeah.
I'm helping you move along. So no, I shy away from executing things. I shy away from quote unquote making decisions. I don't make decisions. I help you make a decision.
So in other words, if you're going to utilize Dr. Shipley, you better get ready to work.
Right, you better get ready to work.
Get your hustle on. That's right.
He ain't coming in to do the work for you.
Don't come in halfway, but you can still pay me and I'll watch you. I'll watch you struggle, but we won't get anywhere.
So give us an example of different type of clients, businesses that you've been able to coach and help.
I have individuals that work in corporate America in the pharmaceutical industry, moving up the chain and those kinds of things.
So it's not just entrepreneurs. You do work with, okay. All right.
So it's a matter of somebody feeling comfortable enough to come to me, with me, that type of thing. And as you all know, I don't advertise.
Yeah.
So it's not one of these things of, my phone is ringing off the hook. What's that, Equalizer? Hello, Robert, can you help us?
Right.
I'll be there in 15. No, it's not like that at all. So by word of mouth, somebody will say, hey, Doug, I heard you do this. And it's not just a matter of coaching either. I facilitated discussions between boards of directors of a company, that kind of thing, because they weren't quite seeing eye to eye. There was old nuances, new nuances and stuff. So it's kind of hard to explain what I do in a little capsule. I can do a lot of things depending on what I'm needed to do. And so even when you go to the website and look and see what I do, it's customizable.
Okay.
So it's not just about, well, this is all I do right here. This is it. I don't talk to you about anything else.
So have you come across a client that just really completely challenged you, and you, after your initial meeting, you was like, I don't know how in the world.
No.
Really?
No. And part of that is because of the the people that come to me. The people that come to me, it's not like I went out, I didn't call you, cold call.
Yeah.
And say, won't you come in?
Won't you come?
Please, won't you come?
Won't you come?
We had 2 to come. You came to me because you figured out that there was a need.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And while you might be pig-headed about some things, I can work with you because you at least acknowledged
right.
that you had a need.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So, again,
It works like that almost every time, honestly.
Right. So you never had anyone that was in straight denial, even though they came to you.
No, I have people that are in denial. Denial of fear, denial of so and so.
Yeah.
But we can work through that.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
And it's not about them bowing up against me, because it's not me again. You came to me because you had an issue.
Yeah.
And so go back to my training, my background. My background was walking into someone's house that called me and telling them how to run their lives in 5 minutes or less. So I have to be able to read the room, figure out what's going to work with you, and be able to use those skill sets of communication, mediation, flexibility to be able to handle the situation and still leave.
Okay. All right.
Unharmed.
With nary a scar.
Wow.
It can be kind of scurry at the same time.
Right. No, but I mean, it's cool to hear that and to hear how you've taken the skill sets that you learned in your law enforcement and have adapted those into your business.
It's definitely those same skill sets.
It's the exact same thing.
The exact same skill sets.
And it's just
expanded.
It's a little bit of salesmanship.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of marketing. It's a lot of communication, but mostly it's about listening.
Wow.
Which some of us have such a hard time doing. Oh, sorry about that. It's time to pick up the boy from ASP.
All right, folks.
After school program.
We're going to head on out of this segment and come back at the end, and we're going to ask Dr. Shipley to give us his thoughts on how he's been blessed and
a couple other things
and what he can do to bless somebody else.
Yep.
All right, we'll catch you on the rebound when we get back.
All right. I guess it's been about 12 years ago I decided to stop chemically relaxing my hair. With that, I actually had no idea what the hair that would grow out of my scalp would look like, so I didn't know how to take care of it. I couldn't even go to the older women in my family to help me learn how to take care of this hair. Ever since the days of Madam C.J. Walker, all we've ever known is straight hair. So I researched online and in stores, and then it kind of became clear to me that the hair accessory industry really had a lot of bias. All the hair accessories out on the market were designed for straight hair or designed to entice you to straighten your hair in order to have success in using them. And I felt like this wasn't fair. I had to find a solution. I knew this problem was bigger than just me. Many other people with textured hair suffering the same pain points as I was when it came to styling textured curly hair. That's when the idea of Puff Cuff was born. All I needed was something to hold my hair, not cinch it down. Based off of a small clip that my grandmother and my mother used to have. It was a clip about this big. It had a hook on the top, but it had teeth that went all the way through it. To me, when you got teeth like this, the only thing that's going through teeth like this is straight hair. So I thought if I could devise something that would be on a larger scale, the teeth would not go all the way through and try to penetrate the hair, but more or less to act like fingers and hold the hair in place. In 2011, I was blessed with the opportunity to take care of my 99-year-old grandmother. And although my grandmother lived to be 99 years old, not at any time did she have an ounce of regret. every night she was like, if the Lord takes me tonight, I'm fine with it. Matter of fact, some morning she woke up like, I thought you was going to take me last night, but I'm still here. I wanted to be able to have the same type of contentment and peace that she had, even though she knew that her life was coming to an end. And I had the thought and idea of Puff Cups just sitting in the back of my head, on the back shelf, on the back burner. And I knew if I sat and let this just collect dust, that I would not be able to have the same peace that she had. Hey, and we are back with Dr. Shipley, and now it's time to just kind of relate, relax, and release.
Woosah?
And Woosah, okay. Yes. Where does Woosah come from?
The movie. Angela Bassett.
It's not
Whitney Houston.
Waiting to Exhale.
Woosah.
Oh.
Didn't know that.
Didn't know that either.
Thank you.
All of us had to stop for a second.
King of trivia.
Okay. So here we just ask us, just some random questions just to lighten the mood a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it was always light, so right. I mean, we were always still having fun.
So let's deepen it then.
No. You're kind of wearing down right now.
She hasn't had her nap yet.
Right, I have not had my nap. It's too late to nap now, too. Except for on the ride home, because you're driving.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Who's driving me? Nobody's driving me.
Did you Uber up here?
No.
I get you one back. You're close up here anyway, aren't you?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
I got you. Okay, so my two random questions are...
Yes, ma'am.
The first one is, tell us something that you learned from your mother when you were little that you still do today. Any piece of advice she gave you?
47.
See?
He told you that random quick.
Something that I learned from my mom.
Uh-huh.
My mom was diagnosed with lupus when I was about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she came back home from the hospital after those diagnoses and a long time she was in there, we knew our lives had changed. And so I walked into the room and I said, "Hey, Mom, could you iron a shirt for me?" And she says, "Yes, I will iron it for you this time, but I want you to see something." And she walked me to the ironing board, and she adjusted the ironing board down to my height. Mm-hmm. And she said, "The ironing board adjust, and I'm going to teach you how to iron a shirt."
I need to teach somebody that right now.
And so when you asked me something that she taught me that stuck with me.
That the ironing board adjusts?
That the ironing board adjusts. And that I could iron my own shirt and I could take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And so I've always ironed my own clothes. I've washed my own clothes. If I need to hem a pair of pants, I can do that, and all of the above. And so she had 4 sons, and so she taught her sons basically to be independent.
Okay.
Not to depend or to expect somebody else to do something for you.
Awesome.
We got 3 mouths that need to learn how to do that.
So I'll teach them how the ironing board adjusts.
Right. They don't even put it back, even after you.
So, yeah, I put it back.
That's my own fault.
All of the above. Yeah, you got to learn them. You got to teach them. Train up a child.
In the way that. Okay. Second random question. It's not really random. It's still little kid related.
Okay.
What was your favorite dollar store candy? Penny store candy? Because there was no dollar store.
No, there wasn't a dollar store.
And what was the name of the penny store?
Okay. The store is Manuals.
Okay.
And it's on the corner of 43rd and Jackson in Kansas City, Missouri. And Manuals was about a block and a half from my house.
Okay.
And walk up to Manuals.
When kids could someplace by themselves.
Well, our kind of kids can still walk some places by themselves. Ain't nobody coming for us. And I walked to Manuals, and I would get a pack of Annihilators.
Annihilators. What flavor? What flavor?
Purple.
Right. Say it ain't no flavor. Right. It's a color.
And I looked at the pack when I was an adult, and I said, it says now and later.
Right. Didn't nobody tell you that?
It was some nihilators.
Some
nihilators.
Right. Nihilators. Right.
We had this guy that in my grandmother's neighborhood, he was 3 doors down. That was our store.
Right. The pedophile's house that you didn't know.
And looking back on it, oh my God.
Your grandmama, go on down there, boy, go on.
I don't want you anyway.
50, right, gave you 50 cents, go on, make that 50 cents.
He was the pharmacist at the candy store.
Bring me a pack of Cools back.
You better bring my change.
Right. So what was your favorite penny store candy?
It was lemon cookies. The little individual lemon cookies.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Sunshine?
about.
I don't know if they were Sunshine.
They were no brand, no name,
right,
just a lemon cookie.
There's small iced lemon cookie.
Where'd you grow up?
In Kankakee, Illinois.
That's right. We ain't had no lemon
With the
cookie.
pedophile house.
Pedophile house.
No.
Hey, he sold everything
Right,
from cigarettes, pantyhose.
She said, get a Lucy and a pack of Cools.
Come on back here. I'll show you something.
Oh my God, he wouldn't exist today.
No, he'd have gone to jail, just that one good time.
What about yours?
Mine was, which this makes it even worse. The name of the shop was The Wig Shop.
Okay.
It didn't even have a name.
Did it have wigs?
Hey, wigs?
It had wigs. Wigs and penny candy.
Okay.
Mine was wine candy.
Wine candy.
Actually, a Jolly Rancher.
Right, that's what I'm like. And we used to call them wine candies.
Wine candy.
I understand. I get it.
Yep.
Did y'all used to have those little things in the plastic bottles that you popped off?
Oh,
With that liquid thing, with the liquid stuff in it?
Right.
Ugh.
But we only like the wax because you hold them up next to the heater and you can mold them into other things.
Right. Silly putty. Those were the first engineering tools. Right.
we worked it out.
Right.
We didn't have phones then.
No.
So.
Our kids would have no idea what to do with that.
No, first of all, they can't walk no place.
They can't get a candy for a penny.
Right.
So.
Okay. So you asked the last 2 questions, which is what was.
Because that's so true. They can't walk nowhere.
Boy, where'd you go?
Right. Can't get no penny candy. You gotta go to Walgreens. But either way, so how have you been blessed?
I was blessed by the fact that I had 2 parents in my household when I was little who loved us and wanted us to do the best that we could. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been blessed by role models. I've always been blessed by mentorship, not formalized, but people in my life who took an interest in me, that wanted to see me do the best that I could. Go back to your upbringing, your training, your all that kind of stuff, and bring it forward.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. And that's an interesting thing because, I mean, you come across a lot of African Americans that would say that they didn't have a 2-parent household.
Right.
And listening to you, I think I took it for granted.
I didn't, because that's why I married you, because your daddy was still around.
I think
and he knew him.
Right. Right. Actually, right.
But I mean, literally, I think I literally took it for granted that, because it was just normal.
It was what you grew up with.
It's what I knew.
And the people around you typically had the same things.
And to find out that there was so many more that didn't have that experience.
Right. And that part of that came across to me when I became a police officer.
Yeah.
Because I was going into areas that it was not.
You saw it firsthand.
Absolutely.
Every day.
It was not the same. And I said, this is interesting. Wow. And so it just reinforced how blessed, how lucky
you were.
I was to have that situation. I have never gone without somebody looking after my well-being.
That's awesome.
Ain't that about something? Okay. Wow. Second question. For all those who are out there potentially listening, how can you be a blessing to them?
I think I can be a blessing to anybody that contacts me through getting them. We talked about that path, making sure that path aligns with who you are versus just arbitrarily going along this, this reaching out for the brass ring.
Yeah.
You get in that mindset of I gotta be the chief. I gotta be the corporate. I gotta be the so and so. I gotta be the whatever. That's another $2,000 for me. Whatever it is, whatever your monetary figure is. But let's see if that is who you are, if that is what you want to do.
Yeah.
If money was not on the table, what would you be doing? If bills were paid, stuff was good, whatever. If it wasn't a factor, what would you be doing? Just rhetorical.
Are you asking? Are we supposed to answer that?
No.
Is Gary going to be like...
It's,
no, it's a penny candy store.
It's designed for those people that are coming and asking, where am I? What am I doing? Because we all reach a point in life that another dollar probably doesn't make any difference to you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's nice to make another 100,000, another million, another whatever, but at some point, it's not. It's not that.
It can't be about that.
All right. Well,
love it.
Man, I love that. That answers that question.
Are you going to pass the offering plate now?
Right.
Yes. You look to your right, look to your left, slap your neighbor,
and drop a dollar.
Drop a dollar. Dig deep. No, I don't want to hear anything clink.
Right. We like change. We like money that's silent.
You want change? No. Change it from your hand to mine.
Well, thank you so much for Dr. Shipley for joining us for our new podcast that we are launching, From Idea to Invention.
I am thrilled to be here. And I thank you.
So glad you came.
Right.
So glad
you came. And for you all out there, you can find Dr. Shipley at itsyourtempo.com. And as we always say in parting,
take care,
be blessed,
and be a blessing.
Peace out.